Botswana Trade Commission has been established as the national body for Botswana through BOTC Act of 2013. Amongst others, Botswana Trade Commission capacitates business in international trade instruments that deal with unfair practices. It regulates the imports of goods into Botswana. It regulates the exports of goods from Botswana. Join me, Neo Tlhaselo, on the Business Crawl every Thursdays, powered by Botswana Trade Commission from 13:30 hours to 1400 hours Central Africa time. Welcome to the Business Crawl, the show that unpacks business policy, investment opportunities and trade right here on Gaps FM. Welcome. It is quite an exciting show today as we run the second edition of Botswana Trade Commission. As I said, it is a statutory body established under the BOTC Act of 2013. However, we're so happy today to be hosting the caretaker's Chief Executive Officer, Shirley Moncho, and Pelotshweu Motlogelwa, the Director Corporate Services from Botswana Trade Commission. Today, we get to understand the mandate of BOTC, and today they launch to stakeholders an on-air launch of BOTC's Strategic Plan 2021-2026. Please be a part of this discussion as you SMS the line 14962 or 3956962 if you're local. If you're outside Botswana, plus 267 3956962. That is the WhatsApp line. Take note that we are broadcasting live, and therefore we are also live on our digital spaces, Gaps FM, Botswana Trade Commission Facebook page, and the Business Crawl Facebook page. Welcome, and let's get into this discussion. Let me take this time to say welcome to our CEO, Moncho. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Neo.
Welcome, Director Corporate Services, Pelotshweu Motlogelwa. Thank you.
Thank you, Neo, and good afternoon to your listeners.
I think this show is coming in very timely because as the Business Crawl, we have been running quite a number of shows, and most of the questions that have been directed throughout, they're actually quite relevant to BOTC, and we have been saying to listeners that please do look forward to this very episode so that you really get to engage with with government's implementing body, which is BOTC. So let us first take off with the CEO with regards to just having an appreciation of, the background in which BOTC was established.
Thank you very much, Neo, and good afternoon to the listeners.
Emma.
Now, as you have rightly said, Botswana Trade Commission is a state-owned enterprise.
Yes.
That has been established by an Act of Parliament in 2013. It's established basically to regulate imports and exports of goods within the common customs area and to provide for matters incidental thereto.
Right.
Botswana is a signatory to the SACU Agreement of 2002, has an obligation to implement its provisions. This agreement advocates for establishment of common institutions to ensure joint decision-making by all members of the Customs Union. Among the institutions we established by SACU is the SACU Tariff Board and the national bodies. The national bodies are to be established by each member state within the Customs Union. It is in this regard that Botswana established Botswana Trade Commission.
Right. If you just tuned in, you are on the Business Crawl, powered by Botswana Trade Commission. We get to, premiere our second edition with Botswana Trade Commission, and it is being premiered by the Chief Executive, Shirley Moncho, and Director Corporate Services, Pelotshweu Motlogelwa. And please do be a part of this discussion. It is for you traders who are actually looking also beyond Botswana. I know you were asking a lot of questions yesterday, and I did say do look forward to the actual implementing body. Moncho, the mandate, as you refresh us on the mandate of Botswana Trade Commission, and as you do that, please also get into specific functions that are undertaken by the Commission.
Thank you very much for that question, Noah. Botswana Trade Commission is mandated, like I said, to regulate imports of goods into the country and exports of goods outside of Botswana.
Yes.
We do that by issuing import permits and export permits for those products that are being regulated. We also manage tariff. That is, we do investigations that will inform whether we increase a tariff of a particular product or we reduce a tariff. We reduce tariffs with a view to ensure that our industries, they have access to raw materials for them to process in the country. And we increase an import duty for protection of those products that we are producing within the country so that we reduce competition with imported products.
Thank you very much, Member Moncho. And maybe a follow-up question on the very two that I know has been, like I said, we have been having questions rolling out. We will base on two particular functions, which you just mentioned, regulating the import of goods into Botswana and regulating the exports of goods out of Botswana. And the fact that, you facilitate the import and export permits. There have been questions as to the processes that is engaged for a trader to be able to acquire those particular permits. If you can just give us, a brief highlight on how you facilitate that bit.
It's really simple. If you are a company and you want to import a product that has been regulated, for instance, if you want to import, what one example would be? The water.
Yes.
You want to import water into the country. You know that we have restrictions on the importation of water. You will have to come to BOTC and you get an import permit for you to be able to import that product. There's another product that we regulate its exportation. We regulate export of scrap metals. Why do we regulate exportation of scrap metals? Is to ensure that our domestic industry that deals with scrap metal get their materials before exportation of such to other countries. So you come to BOTC, apply for an export permit, you'll be issued with an export permit within a day.
Right. Studio time is 13:41 as we get into the second segment of this particular premiere. We will be speaking to the strategic plan 2021 to 2026. But before that, CEO, is there anything you'd like to highlight? I know that throughout our rollout, we'll keep on expanding on specifics under, the functions and the mandate that you just alluded to. But before we get into the strategic plan, is there anything that you would like to emphasize within the mandate of the Commission?
Thank you very much, Neo. We do also issue rebate certificates. Rebate certificate comes whereby a product has been exempted from paying duty. For the purposes that I've indicated, if we have an industry that requires raw material and we realize that this raw material, we don't have it within the customs union, and we then request we recommend that a particular product be rebated from paying any duty when they enter the country. So for a company that deals with, for instance, now we are issuing rebates.
Yes.
For 412, that it's rebating products that are used for COVID to fight against COVID, not to pay duty when they enter.
Yes.
We do they bring in an application, and then we issue them with a certificate, which they will then take to BRS for BRS to give them an exemption of paying duty.
Right. There's an SMS that came in through the BUSINESS KRAAL inbox to say that the company which we have just been looking for, where is it situated?
BOTC, we are housed by Botswana Bureau of Standards on the way to the airport.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We get into the second segment as we get to appreciate the Commission's Strategic Plan 2021-2026. And we're also joined by Pelotshweu Motlogelwa, the Corporate Director, Corporate Services. So if you can just give us an appreciation of, the highlights in relation to the strategy development process and, what the processes that went through for us to finally have the composition of the strategy, just for an appreciation.
Thank you, Neo. And let me just start by saying, look, for any organization to thrive, really, there has to be a roadmap.
Yes.
And with BOTC, BOTC and board and management, we step back to say, can we refine the roadmap of BOTC? And then in that roadmap, we establish the targets that we want to achieve, because at the end of it all, we are looking at chasing the outcomes out of that. And I think with the strategic plan, we are very happy to say we finalized the strategic plan, the 5-year strategic plan for BOTC. And out of that, we brought out the strategic foundations, or strategic plan foundations, because we brought up the vision. We set ourselves a vision, which is an organization of reckon in promotion of fair trade and industry competitiveness. As you can see, it's a twin one. We are looking at fair trade and also industry competitiveness, because we are looking at our interests, not only competing locally, but also globally. And I think what we did is, what is the reason for us for existence, which is our mission. We have come up with a mission which says to promote fair trade. We are reinforcing again fair trade through the administration of trade instruments and the provision of technical advice in trade and industry matters. That is our mission, that is our reason for being as BOTC. And I think out of that, when we're preparing the strategy, we set ourselves the outcome or impact at economic level that we want to see, which basically is, if I just segment it, fair trade, industry competitiveness, and we also want to look at what we have to be an organization which is effective. And to do that, we need to look at our internal resources, which is human capacity and resources such as finance. And then we followed the normal strategy development, and we used the 4 perspectives that are commonly used, which is custom, process and financial, and human capital, or learning and growth. This is how we looked at it. And then we set ourselves strategic objectives, which now, this is the first year, which is 22-23, where now we are looking at the annual installment of that 5-year strategic plan to see what will be delivered in that year.
Right. If you just tuned in, you're on the Business Crawl. Take note that we are hosting Botswana Trade Commission. This will be a rollout that has taken, off today, and we will be continuously unpacking everything that is being summed up today as we get into specific segments as we go on. So please do partake in this very, very, very show. If you are a trader and you're looking into importing and exporting, if you're looking into it, or if you're already operating in that scope, this is the show to actually tune in. If you have questions, you're welcome to raise the questions now. If you're planning on listening and further engaging, we will share later on the details on how you can further engage with Botswana Trade Commission. Take note that we're live, digitally live on GAPS FM's online stream, Botswana Trade Commission Facebook page and the Business Crawl Facebook page. And we are hosting the Caretaker Chief Executive, Moncho, and Director Corporate Services, Pelotshweu Motlogelwa, premiering the second edition of BOTC. 13:47 is your studio time. We're getting into the third segment of the show. We run until the top of the hour at 1400 hours. Motlogelwa, before I engage Moncho on, expanding on the outcomes that you spoke to, BOTC strategic plan indicates that the Commission has aligned the plan to the overall national government agenda to ensure sustainable economic development. Would you like to highlight on some of the areas that you have aligned yourself with with the domestic plan.
Indeed, because we our parent ministry is the Ministry of Trade, and we cascade the objectives from the ministry. And we do have programs at national level, programs such as ERTP, programs such as the Reset Agenda. And what we've done is, for us to align, we took out what is relevant to the BOTC mandate. And as new entrants in the public space, we do have a robust stakeholder engagement plan. And we have already initiated, because we are looking at those institutions which we do share common interest.
Yes.
And we started with a memorandum of an agreement with BEMA, it's Botswana Exporters Manufacturing Association, because we are looking at common interest. And we did not stop there. BOTC as the authority, we have our implementing agency as BURS. And what we've done is we've also entered into a memorandum of understanding with BURS. We have initiated all these two agreements so that it can be easier for us to reach out to the intended clients of BOTC. This is how we are implementing and also aligning to the broader government national agenda.
Right. You spoke to the strategic intents and outcomes, and this is where I would like to engage Moncho on. You spoke to the industry competitiveness, fair trade, the organizational effectiveness. Would you like to expand on that, on the strategic intent and the outcomes?
Indeed. With regard to fair trade, we have trade instruments that we administer at BOTC. These trade instruments are such as import and export. We have trade remedies. We have tariff management, which we then use to ensure that our industry trade fairly within the domestic market.
Yes.
And they become competitive. On industry competitiveness, we are looking at engaging government continuously together with other stakeholders and other strategic partners to implement this instrument that I've just spoken to.
Yes.
And as well as agreements, because you know that in each and every agreement, there are trade remedies. Trade remedies meaning anti-dumping, countervailing, and safeguards.
Yes.
Because as we reduce tariffs against our partners, at one point you realize that you will have import surge, which you did not expect, and you need to remedy that. That's where the safeguards comes in.
Right.
Then on
the organizational effectiveness. Yes.
As he has already indicated, we want to enhance our internal capacities and capabilities so that the organization can effectively implement the strategy. He has spoken to the MOUs that we initiated and signed with two organizations.
Yes.
Those will facilitate us to engage with the two institutions, because we recognize that with BERS we cannot do without them, because the recommendations that we come up with on duties, they have to implement. With the BEMA, we need the industries that are their members. We have to have inputs from industries for BOTC to be able to process and recommend. And the recommendations, if they are adopted, they go back and benefit the industries. As I've set an example of dumping. If a dumping application comes in, they would have given us all the information, then we will process. If there's need for anti-dumping, we'll recommend through the Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry to SACU to be able to agree on our recommendations.
Yes, maybe before we just get to the next question, maybe you can just briefly educate us on what dumping is. We have covered it in the first edition and we are yet to cover it in the next episode, but just for, alignment of understanding for those who are hearing you, Emma.
Dumping is when a product comes out of SACU. SACU, Ghana, it's 5 member states. It's Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Namibia, and Swaziland. If a product is imported out of these 5 member states, gets into SACU at a lower price compared to the price that is sold from the export market, we term that dumping.
This actually reminds me, Mama Moncho, of some question that actually rolled in during our first edition. I know Motlogelwa at the time did answer to it, but I just want you to also just answer it again. You are speaking of SACU. There was a question that was asking what if dumping occurs from countries such as China, of which that particular listener was saying, I'm seeing a lot of that from the likes of China and other countries. Do you as well facilitate anti-dumping around that? Well, what is your role outside SACU?
Good question. Within SACU, within the 5 member states, there's no dumping. Dumping only occurs when a product comes from China or any other third party.
Yes.
Outside of SACU.
Mm-hmm.
So if we import T-shirts, an importer gets T-shirts from China, and we realize that the imported price for those T-shirts into Botswana or into South Africa or into Namibia, it's 5 pula, compared to the price they are selling in China, it's 8 pula.
Yes.
We term that dumping because they've reduced the price from their own internal market when they sell to Botswana. And we collectively, the 5 member states, deal with such unfair trade practices. It wouldn't be an issue just for Botswana. It's an issue for the rest of SACU because we are a single market.
Yes, I think that is quite clear. Now, the very important question, Motlogelwa, in your 5-year strategic plan as a commission, how have you segmented your stakeholders? Who are your stakeholders? A lot of them are listening now. How and where have you categorized them? And maybe just to pair that question, who do you serve? If we can just get into specifics, who do we serve?
I could say we serve the business community. Ka gore kana re lebile gore go na le kgwebo e leng gore tla be e diragala e leng gore go na le dithuto tse di tswang ko ntle di tsena kwana and a di tsena kwana di tsena mo ba gwebing ba botlana ba hagare le ba go godimo le gone hela jalo gape yaka re batla gore going forward e be re Botswana is an export led economy gora go go na le dithuto tse di tswang mo Botswana di ya ka ko ntle mme ala ka di tlola di border go na le kgetiso dithuto e leng gore ya tsena ke yone e leng gore o tla itse gore mandate ya rona o remeletse gone ho yaanong if you want to segmentize them ya ka gompieno re tsene mo tumalanong le ba bema ka gore ba lebeletse the manufacturers.
Yes.
Gore their clients are indirectly our clients, and like I'm saying, it's a different strata. It's different stratas mo teng bo ileng gore tota hela ke bone ba ileng gore re lebile bone gore ha ba godisa kgwebo go kgona go na le kgonagalo ya gore e be ile gore le rona economy ya rona ya gola ka gore ha le godisa kgwebo o tlhama ditiro tse ileng gore re di batla mo go maswe re le rona mo Botswana.
Yeah, no, besides offer example like Abema, but then we know that there are other associations that also have potential clients, such as I know that there's the informal traders associations, for example. There's Business Botswana. There are quite a number of associations, farmers associations. Can you be specific also and speak to such associations?
Totally, we do look at all the different sectors of the economy. Gore business e tswa go kae mo sectoring entseng yang. I think I was just giving Bema because we just completed the agreement with them. But hella, we look at the broader economy. Okay, which sector? What's on about textile sector, furniture sector, or those sectors very broad? It's the industry, the industry, the company, but to be precise, we serve the whole strata.
Yes, I think it's very important that in our 3 minutes left, so that we then hand over to Badikang. We're left with 3 minutes, if not 2 minutes. traders are listening to us from the entire spectrum. Are they the specific products that you deal with at BOTC in which your facilitation is around, or you look at the entire spectrum, as you just said, that, le lebella bagwebi ka go farologana ga bone? Moncho?
As long as you deal with a product,
yes,
you are our stakeholder. The reason why I'm saying that is when you regulate imports and exports, you are looking at a tangible good.
Yes.
We regulate, we impose duties on a tangible good. So for agricultural products, still we have a role to play because they are producers and they need to be protected.
Yes.
If we have, for instance, if we have lots of what product can I give as an example for agric? Potato. And we feel there's need for them to be protected. BOTC comes in.
Right.
Even issuance of import permits, they're still with the Ministry of Agric because we believe they have the know-how on issues of sanitary and phytosanitary.
Yes.
Because for an agricultural product, before you get a permit to import, you need to have a phytosanitary certificate.
Right. Thank you very much, Moncho. We have run out of time. However, let me just share the BOTC numbers, 39245880. Please do engage with Botswana Trade Commission. If you tuned in at the very last segment, please take note that Botswana Trade Commission Facebook page and Gaps FM Facebook page has been rolling this show. You can rewind and just listen to the entire show. Website www.botc.org.bw 39245880. We continue with Botswana Trade Commission next week, Thursday. It's a good afternoon. Botswana Trade Commission has been established as the national body for Botswana through BOTC Act of 2013. Amongst others, Botswana Trade Commission capacitates business in international trade instruments that deal with unfair practices. It regulates the imports of goods into Botswana. It regulates the exports of goods from Botswana. Join me, Neo Tlhaselo, on the Business Crawl every Thursdays, powered by Botswana Trade Commission from 13:30 hours to 1400 hours Central Africa time.